So let's go back. There was a conversation, and there's something that I've been meaning to ask you for a very long time, and that is, I remember you in our podcast. You stated that I came on, and I jumped onto this bandwagon of, there's just not enough females and not enough. But what a lot of people don't know is after that, it was evening time, and I remember I was sitting there and you phoned me. You gave me a call. And I want to know, what was your motives? What was your drive behind that? And what were you feeling to give me that call that day?
Yeah. Okay. It's a good question because up until that point, I've never created an awareness around any sort of diversity issue
Mm,
that exists, and it does exist, right? And purposefully, I've done that not to raise, in my mind, right, not to raise, um, not to raise the issue, but to ensure that no matter what we did as the alliances or the CISO alliances or CIO alliances or whatever, it didn't really matter your gender, your race, your age, your sexual orientation. It doesn't matter to me personally. Um, the qualification to be part of it is that you're impacting the industry, right? Or you're part of the industry or part of a business division impacting those STEM based vocations like a CIO or a CISO or an ISO or wherever the case may be. Um, what I saw from that band meeting from yourself, and I know that you were backed by Zach's as well in the message in there, which does help because you get that wider perspective as well. It's not just a singular person annoyed by the
mm,
situation, right? It's
mm,
a collective. Is that there's frustrations. There's huge frustrations with it, right? And there's a challenge now. One of the things that I suppose I'm known for with the alliances is regardless of how good we are perceived in terms of our output, or whether it's our chapters or the evolution now into the platform that we're working on at the moment, is that we will start and we will take risks and we will do things and focus on areas that some will feel uncomfortable with or some won't be able to relate to,
mm,
but some will. So we'll go for it, right? And the reason I called you is that I saw I saw a challenge, right? And I'm big on, not for my personal brand at all, but I'm big on leaving a legacy. I'm
mm,
big on making the most of the time that I have, because when it's gone, right? And
mm,
you either want to look back on it fondly or you want to look back on it and go, oh, I hid from that because I'm uncomfortable with it. And the main reason I called was to see if you're okay, because I know that you were really passionate about what you were talking about. I think we were sort of focusing more on where do females go and feel comfortable in terms of obtaining technical skills? Where are they getting those experiences, right? Where's the
mm,
exposure? What roles
mm,
is um, the stronger diversity side, the male? No, not men bashing, but what side is that doing? The existing role holders, what are you
yeah.
doing to impact this diversity gap, and where are you
Mm,
empowering females to be part of the narrative, and changing that narrative.
mm,
And I think that that's something that I always want to impact, right? I think the human element and the relationships behind the alliances is the strongest part of it. I know everyone. When I message in the group, and even though there's 200 odd people in there now, and it is getting a little bit, diluted as such, or could be perceived that that's the case, I message in the individuals because every single person in that group I have at least met digitally or met physically and one or more time, and I've got to
mm,
know them. No, this isn't like invite someone to come and be part of an event. This is inviting someone to be part of a community where they can contribute and take from it continuously, 24/7, right? Um, and the challenge that you brought is something that I'd not focused on, and I do feel quite bad about that. And you've not made me feel bad. It's just, I just feel like it's something that I should have focused on differently to the way that I have done, in terms of possibly being perceived as ignoring it,
mm,
which definitely isn't the case. It was purposeful in that, the same way as I don't use name badges on site,
Mm.
because I don't want to highlight what company people work for because I don't really care. They're already
Mm.
qualified, right?
Mm.
Is the same way as I wouldn't not allow females or have a strong female contingent being part of the community. But what you rose awareness to was the fact that, even in that band meeting itself, I think it was about 30 odd people on there. I don't know the demographics, but I do know that there was probably 2 women or 3 women. Yeah, you too. And I do know that, in terms of female session leaders, even though everyone's invited, females don't traditionally come forward to speak at the chapters. Um, and that imposter syndrome, which you guys have highlighted to me, um, it's something that I feel when I speak to a group of marketeers, because it is generally female led. I do feel
Mm.
like I'm sometimes sort of pigeonholed. Oh, here's another sales guy
Mm.
selling us an event space. It sort of rose the awareness to it, and I think, from our industry specifically, and which contributes to the STEM vocation base, right? There's an opportunity here to where there is a platform for women to resonate with the imposter syndrome that they have and find that
Mm.
commonality in not feeling comfortable all the time, and find that commonality of not knowing everything, and find that commonality in terms of being wrong amongst a group of peers,
Mm.
including women and also including men. That's one thing that I really want to come from this, is that, the brand is Journeys to Inspire Women Leaders in STEM, because we need more of those.
Mm.
We need more women leaders in this industry. But what I do really want, where I really want to come from it, is when I ask for session leaders for the chapters, and it's typically between 5 or 7. Unless we have a panel, there's more. The men who lead also come to me anxious, going, I don't
Mm.
I don't know what you want from this. I know what's the
Mm.
format, what's this, and I'm able to change the way the format is by just allowing people to come and contextualize a problem that they don't know the answer to, and allow the
Mm.
community to unpack. And I want women and men and industry leaders to come forward with this and make sure that there's normality in not knowing everything in this industry.
Mm.
I mean, the media allows for us to be aware of that already, and it's already discomfort, because when your brand has been splashed all over the news for being part of a data breach or a ransomware
Mm.
attack or whatever, um, it hurts, because you're held accountable for that, right? And I just want to make sure that we've got that platform which has impact. And I think the key part of it is changing the narrative, right? And that
Mm.
is the grassroots that we're targeting. The traditional, and this isn't a criticism or trying to come across as a criticism to what's out there already. There's loads of women in tech, women in IT, women in security platforms out there. Other than bringing the group together, which is beneficial, what you doing to impact the next generation, and
Mm.
what you're doing to actually change the issue. I mean, we all want to
Mm.
sustain ourselves, right? But I'd love us not to have the women part of our job title and just leaders in STEM. Of our brand, sorry, and just leaders in STEM,
Mm.
because there's an equilibrium of who is part of it eventually, right? Whether that happens in my lifetime or not, right? I don't know, but
Mm.
I'd love to see it different, and I do
Yeah.
think it is changing, and we've got an opportunity to be part of that change as well and have a vehicle to impact it directly. It was a
Mm.
really long-winded question, as you said earlier. I do talk.